I learned an important lesson from Occupy Wall Street, because I knew some of these far leftists, and they fought for free speech in 2011. And then when it came to the free speech arguments in 2018 and 19, I asked these guys, like this one guy I knew, I was like, how could you be for free speech back then? And all of a sudden your opinion changed. And he laughed and said, because you're too stupid. You didn't realize we were using you. We hate liberals. When you defended our speech, it empowered us. And now we want to take yours away from you because we want power. And I was like, oh, it makes sense.
Also, you know what we were talking about just before we went on air? We were talking about libertarianism versus a more ordered liberty, like a recognition of moral order. That's the biggest difference between the French Revolution and the American Revolution. The American Revolution was based, I know this is really historically nerdy, was based on this idea that there was some fundamental objective truth that we didn't just determine as populism, right? And the French Revolution chose libertarianism instead. So we ordered our constitution on original justice, which is like Judeo-Christian values, and the French Revolution didn't. They ordered it as freedom as the ultimate end, whereas we viewed freedom as the means to something greater. And
I think one of the big differences, a catalyst and one of the principal catalysts for the French Revolution was economics. People were starving, there was famine, and so you had all these French people being like, don't know, don't care, I'm angry. And that just led to beheadings and other chaos. Whereas in the United States, it was consistent oppressive actions by the crown and things like no representation in government. And the founding fathers and many of the state leaders would repeatedly petition the crown for things that made more sense on our behalf. And they would just say, no, screw off over and over again. So the revolutionary period was actually about 20 years long. And the Declaration of Independence was way later on in that whole period.
That's an interesting point about the secularism of the French Revolution. It's interesting. I hadn't really thought much about it, but that the American Revolution was like I don't know if it's a Christian revolution. They put God in a lot of their writings. Then the French Revolution was all about like do away with the old God, create a new religion, create a new calendar. We don't want to adhere to these old traditions.
I saw an interesting video where some conservative dude was doing one of those gotcha videos of stupid people in Times Square. And he asked, what year did America gain its independence? And I thought that question was really, really funny because even he did not know the answer. Because what year was it? Anybody have a guess?
1781.
Are you talking about technically? Because, I mean, if you want to be real philosophical about this, you could argue that in some ways it's a continuous battle that's ongoing forever.
2023, biatch!
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like a lame answer. But
I actually don't know the year.
Are you talking about like when the Constitution, when the Revolution ended?
The surrender of Cornwallis.
Was that 81? Did they fight all the way
81.
into 81?
At Yorktown. So that was no, wait, that's the wrong one. 1781.
So they announced it in 76.
So you can make the argument that we had our independence in 1776, but I disagree. Declaring it didn't change the fact the crown asserted their right and started shooting at the Americans to and actually controlled a bunch of cities and occupied places. So we did not have it. It wasn't until Cornwallis surrendered that we actually gained it. So 1781. But I think it's funny because they were like, what year was it? And it's supposed to be 1776. And it's like, no, actually, that's when they started sending in the troops.
Right.
Granted, they were already sending in the troops, to be fair, and that's kind of a catalyst for it. But
I think what happened right after is what's interesting because we didn't have the Constitution for a while after, right? We had the Articles of Confederation, and that was structured on more of a libertarian basis, and it resulted in chaos. And they realized that we couldn't order a society along those lines, so we had to use the Constitution to reorder it along James Madison's viewpoints.